It happened again this morning. You made the coffee, folded the laundry, checked your phone, scrolled through messages, appointments, and to-dos, trying to shake the emptiness that's been sitting in your chest for weeks now. Everything looks okay. You're holding things together, smiling, showing up, being strong. But in the quiet moments, in the car, in the shower, in bed at night, something keeps tugging at you. A whisper that says, you were made for more than this. Not more responsibility, not more pressure, more meaning, more peace, more connection to something sacred, something true. And yet, every time you try to lean in, life pulls you back into the noise. If this feels like your story, leave a comment below and write, I'm ready for purpose, because that whisper in your heart, it's not your imagination. It's not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a message. And today, you'll learn how Archangel Gabriel has already been speaking to you, gently guiding you back to the purpose you haven't missed, just momentarily forgotten. That off feeling? It's not just exhaustion, it's divine disconnection. You get through most days on autopilot, the alarm goes off, you get out of bed, even if your soul still feels asleep. You make sure everyone else is okay. You answer messages, check the calendar, refill the groceries, you smile when someone needs it. You show up, even when you feel hollow. But somewhere between the busy moments and the quiet ones, something doesn't feel right anymore. There's this dull ache inside, not quite sadness, not quite burnout, more like a slow, persistent question you can't shake. Is this really all I was put here to do? You're not ungrateful. You've probably told yourself 1,000 times, I should be thankful, I have so much. But gratitude doesn't cancel out disconnection. And what you're feeling isn't about failure. It's about being out of alignment with your higher path. The ache for meaning isn't a crisis, it's a calling. Most people miss this part. They think that feeling lost means they're broken or behind or just tired. But that off feeling, it's not a warning light that you've messed something up. It's a divine invitation to come home to your purpose. Think of it like driving a car with the GPS turned off. You might get where you're going. But the longer you drive without direction, the more exhausted and unsure you feel. That's what it's like living without spiritual alignment. You can keep moving forward, you can get things done, but deep down you feel the fatigue of wandering without a deeper why. One woman described it like this. I was folding laundry one night, just socks and towels, and I suddenly felt like I could cry. Not because anything was wrong, but because I realized I'd been going through the motions for months. I couldn't remember the last time I felt excited, inspired, lit up. I kept thinking, what happened to me? I used to dream. And then a voice, not out loud, but in my heart, whispered, you haven't disappeared, you've just drifted, and it's time to return. That's not just a mental health moment, that's a Gabriel moment. The divine messages often arrive not when you're seeking answers with your mind, but when your soul finally has space to speak. The purpose behind the ache. What you're feeling isn't random. It's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're awakening. That inner ache, that subtle emptiness, that sense that something is missing even when life is full. That's the divine blueprint of your purpose starting to stir again. It's Archangel Gabriel's way of saying, you're not meant to keep living in the middle of almost. The life you're meant for is still calling you. Let's find your way back. Why you're missing Gabriel's messages, even if you're asking. By now, you may be thinking, but I've been asking for guidance. I've prayed, I've meditated, I've begged for signs. And yet the silence feels heavy. No lightning bolt of clarity, no angel in your dreams, just more waiting, more wondering. But here's the truth. You haven't been ignored. You haven't been forgotten. You just haven't been taught how to tune into the frequency Gabriel speaks on. Divine guidance isn't loud, it's tuned in. Think of spiritual guidance like a radio station. If you're even just a little off the frequency, all you hear is static. But the station is still playing. The message is still broadcasting. You just can't receive it clearly until you align. Gabriel doesn't shout to get your attention. He doesn't compete with chaos. He whispers. He nudges. He gently repeats himself through patterns, feelings, small synchronicities, until you finally pause long enough to notice. The three main reasons Gabriel's messages go unnoticed. 1. You're expecting something dramatic. Hollywood taught you that angelic signs come with thunder and glowing wings. So when Gabriel sends a quiet message, like a recurring dream, a strange coincidence, or a feeling in your gut, you dismiss it. You're waiting for a voice in the sky, but he's speaking through the echo in your spirit. A thought that comes back over and over. A topic that keeps popping up in random places. A coincidence that feels too personal to be chance. That is the message, and the more you expect drama, the easier it is to miss the sacred subtle. 2. You don't trust what you already feel. Gabriel often speaks through your own intuition, but every time something inside you says, it's time to move on. Start that thing you keep putting off. Let go of this cycle, it's not yours anymore. Doubt kicks in. You talk yourself out of it, you second guess, you ask for confirmation even though you already feel the answer. But Gabriel doesn't override your free will. He waits for you to trust what's already stirring. Number 3, you're too emotionally exhausted to notice the nudge. Let's be honest, it's hard to hear whispers when your mind is loud, when you're overstimulated, overgiving, and emotionally spread thin. Even the most sacred message can feel like silence. If your body is tired, your spirit is overextended, and your heart feels numb. It's not because Gabriel isn't speaking. It's because your nervous system hasn't had a moment to breathe. Divine communication thrives in stillness, in softness, in the spaces between the chaos. Kate has been feeling burnt out for a while now. She has been doing everything right, yet nothing felt fulfilling. One day, while folding clothes and listening to a podcast in the background, she heard one simple phrase. You were not born to only serve, you were born to become. She paused, rewound the audio. She'd heard those words before, in a dream, in a conversation, in her journal. This was the third time. Tears filled her eyes, not because the phrase was new, but because she finally realized that was Gabriel. He'd been speaking all along. The real reason you're not hearing anything loudly. Because you're being invited to hear yourself again. And Gabriel's voice always sounds like home. When you quiet the noise, when you begin to soften, when you let your heart breathe again, the message becomes clear, not just about your next step, but about who you are and what you came here to do. How Gabriel speaks through everyday life. When you think of angelic guidance, you might imagine glowing visions or dramatic signs. But Archangel Gabriel rarely shows up that way. He speaks through the ordinary, the quiet, the familiar, the overlooked moments that are so easy to dismiss unless your heart is soft enough to hear. A sign in the simple things. There was a woman who kept feeling stuck in her job. She prayed for a sign, any sign, that it was time to leave. But nothing happened. No booming voice, no dream, just normal life. One day, she walked into a bookstore to clear her head. As she reached for a novel, a small book fell from a higher shelf and hit the floor. The title, Now is Your Time. She almost laughed, but something in her knew. The very next day, an unexpected opportunity showed up. That moment in the bookstore wasn't random. It was Gabriel. Gabriel's messages aren't loud, but they're everywhere. Here's what most people miss. Gabriel is always speaking. But instead of demanding attention, he invites awareness. Look at how he gently weaves signs through your everyday. You hear the same phrase in 3 different conversations. A song plays and a single lyric hits you like a divine whisper. A memory from childhood keeps resurfacing out of nowhere. You get emotional during something simple, folding clothes, looking at an old photo, smelling a familiar scent. That's not nostalgia, that's not coincidence. That's divine memory. Your soul recognizing truth. When the message is direction, even if it's unclear. Sometimes Gabriel doesn't say go here or choose that. Sometimes he simply says, it's time, not this anymore. Look again. Trust what you feel. Imagine trying to find a destination at night with only the next 10 feet of road illuminated. That's how divine guidance often works. You don't see the entire map, but you do see the next right step. And that's always enough. Have you noticed this? Think back to the past week or 2. Has a certain thought kept returning? Have you felt drawn to something old? A dream? A passion? A forgotten hobby? Have you felt unsettled in places that used to feel fine? These are messages. Gabriel often doesn't give direct orders. He reawakens your awareness so you begin to remember your own path. When guidance comes through emotion, Gabriel is the angel of communication, but not just through words. He speaks through emotion. The lump in your throat, the deep sigh that comes out of nowhere, the peace that floods you when you imagine a different life. Don't dismiss those feelings. They're not weak. They're not silly. They're sacred. They are your soul reacting to truth, and truth is how divine guidance lands, why you're still waiting even when the signs are clear. You've started noticing things. You've felt the pull. You've seen the signs, but still, you wait. You hesitate. You second guess. You wonder, is this really for me? And that's okay, because stepping into your purpose isn't just about clarity. It's about courage. I knew, but I didn't move. A friend named Mark once shared how he had been getting the same nudge for years. He knew he was supposed to shift his path, to start something new, to speak up, to change direction. But every time she got close, something stopped her. Every time she was about to make a leap, to make a decision, he changed his mind. He knows deep down, it wasn't because of outside factors or circumstances. It's not even because of lack of ability, but a quiet, heavy voice inside that said, "Who are you to do this? What if you fail? What if you're wrong?" And he realized he wasn't waiting for a sign. He was waiting to feel worthy of the sign. What's really keeping you from moving forward? Most people don't stay stuck because of lack of guidance. They stay stuck because of invisible burdens that whisper, "It's too late. You've missed your window. You have responsibilities. You can't just follow a dream. You should be content with what you have. You're not spiritual enough to be called." But none of that is true. In fact, if you're hearing the call, it's because heaven already knows you're ready. Gabriel doesn't waste divine energy on souls who aren't equipped. If you're receiving the message, you're meant to carry the purpose. The myth of a lightning bolt purpose. Many wait for a single moment of lightning clarity, a "this is it" moment that magically erases all doubt. But that's not how most divine callings arrive. They come in layers, in quiet openings, in small shifts that gather power as you say yes, one moment at a time. Sometimes, purpose reveals itself only after you start walking, not before. You're not far behind. You're right on time. What if the delays you've experienced weren't detours? What if they were preparation? What if everything you've been through, the heartbreak, the burnout, the breakdowns, was actually sacred training? Not punishment, but positioning. Every moment that's made you softer, wiser, more sensitive to spirit has brought you to this exact moment. And the moment isn't asking you to leap. It's just asking you to say, "Yes, I'm willing. Yes, I'm listening. Yes, I'm ready to receive." That's it. That's the door Gabriel has been waiting to open with you. The invitation you've been waiting for. You've felt the pull. You've noticed the patterns. You've sensed that something in you is waking up. And now you may be asking, "So what's next? What do I do with all of this?" That's the moment Gabriel has been guiding you toward. Not just awareness, but activation. Because purpose isn't just about knowing. It's about stepping in. And you don't have to do it alone. There's a path, a sacred one, designed for someone who feels exactly the way you do. Restless, but not sure why. Grateful, yet still searching. Spiritually open, but needing direction. Called, but scared to move. And that path has already been prepared for you. You're not being asked to figure everything out. You're being asked to say yes and let divine guidance do the rest. When heaven sends support, don't ignore it. There's a reason this message has found you now. Not by chance, not by algorithm, but by divine alignment. Because the very thing you've been yearning for, clarity, confidence, connection, can't come from more striving. It comes from realignment. And that realignment becomes simple when you are given the tools, guidance, and sacred space to receive it. That's what has been prepared for you. Enter your next step into divine clarity. There is a guided experience that has been channeled for those ready to hear Gabriel clearly, to remember their soul's assignment, to receive messages that make sense, to align with their real purpose, and feel confident living it. Inside this sacred journey, you'll discover how to interpret the personal messages Gabriel is sending you, how to uncover the passion or gift that's been buried under obligation, how to distinguish divine nudges from doubt or distraction, a spiritual framework for stepping fully into your calling, practices and prompts to hear Gabriel's guidance daily, the courage to walk the path you already know is waiting. This is not a course, it's not content, it's a return, a soft landing for your soul. a sacred dialogue between you and your angel, a safe space to say, "Show me who I really am again." Real results from real souls. One woman shared, "I always felt I was meant for something deeper, but I didn't know how to connect the dots. I kept asking for guidance, but didn't know how to hear it. Once I began this path, it was like the lights came back on in my spirit. Gabriel's messages became clear, and I finally stopped doubting myself. I know what I'm here for now." Another said, "This helped me stop searching outside myself and start listening within. The signs were always there. I just needed help understanding them. Now I feel guided every day." It's not too late, it's just in time. Don't let the noise of life convince you that you've missed it. Don't let fear convince you to stay small. And don't let guilt tell you that your purpose doesn't matter, because it does, and heaven has been waiting for you to say yes. This isn't about starting over, it's about stepping forward. And everything you've been through, it hasn't disqualified you, it's equipped you. Gabriel isn't looking for perfect, he's calling the willing, the open-hearted, the ones who whisper in the dark, "There must be more than this." There is, and it's closer than you think. If your heart feels stirred, if your eyes are watering for reasons you can't explain, that's not emotion, that's recognition. That's Gabriel's way of saying, "Yes, this is for you, and yes, you're ready now." Click the link below to begin the journey into your divine calling. Your path is sacred, your time is now, and the angel who's been guiding you through it all is ready to speak clearly. Click the link below to step into your purpose now. And before you go, leave a comment. I'm ready to hear Gabriel. Let that be your first sacred yes, because when you move with purpose, heaven moves with you.